But anyway, let's get into really what the best regions are to buy in Australia. Now, I showed you the property clock recently, and it's going to go exactly via that. Number one draft pick, Melbourne, 100%. No doubts about that. Melbourne is the best draft pick for sure, followed by Geelong. Both of these markets, a lot of them haven't done that much for a number of years. Now, they've done a bit over the COVID period, don't get me wrong, but the suburbs in both of them have done almost nothing for 7 or 8 years, mind you. Now, historically, some of these have done 9 to 10% capital growth. So no doubt about that. Newcastle, Central Coast. Now, Newcastle and the Central Coast have done decently since COVID in the last 10 or so years, don't get me wrong. But their markets that generally, they can go silent for a little while, but the markets are generally a kind of lower flying markets where you get like 3 to 10% growth in a year. When they go silent, it's generally just in the lower sort of digits of percentage growth, but they don't really, they'll sometimes correct by up to 10%, but it's not often they do that. They're kind of gradual sort of flying markets. Including Sydney and Wollongong too. Sydney and Wollongong are a little bit different. They can have a little bit more swings. But I mean, that 5% deposit scheme up to 1.5 million is going to put ridiculous numbers on some of these areas. It's just going to push it up more. Sydney, there's a lot of money still flowing into Sydney, a lot of international money as well. So don't get confused by that. It is going to continue to go up. It's just what is going on. Whether you like it or not, it will continue to pick up in value. So those are my primary regions. And the reason I'm saying they're my primary regions is because predominantly I'm targeting these regions. Your secondary locations really are your Hobart, Brisbane, and Perth. So Hobart is the best of the secondary locations because it's just in its stabilisation period. I don't think it'll do much over the next coming years, maybe 10% or something, like maybe 15%, I don't know. But just because of schemes and what's going on in the market, interest rates. But I mean, towards the latter part of the next 10 years, it'll do pretty well to pick back up and go through its cycle again. Brisbane, the best locations are easily inner north and inner east. I've mentioned that previously. Brisbane is towards the latter end of its boom phase in a lot of the other areas. But because you've got the Olympics coming up and because you've got quite good economy there and quite good fundamentals in some of the areas, it is going to still pick the market up for sure. Perth, be very wary of it. I said only junior up city beaches and inner city regions. So it's that area you want to buy, the fundamental areas where people live long term in Perth. Don't fall for all the other areas because it's just not going to work. Again, like be very discerning and careful about buying in Perth. It's just not the same as every other market. Really, I did a previous episode on this only a few weeks ago, and I just basically put together my draft picks and expected returns. This is for the last 10 years. So you can see the city and then the price growth expectation. I actually included Adelaide, Gold Coast, and Sunny Coast in this one. So you clearly see the winner is Melbourne by far, followed by Geelong, Newcastle, Central Coast, Sydney, Wollongong, Hobart, Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sunny Coast, Perth, then Adelaide. So all of them I expect to grow over the next 10 years, and I actually expect, especially Perth and Adelaide, that 15 to 30 and 15 to 25% to happen within the next 2. All of that growth will happen, and then I think it'll go silent for, 5 to 10 years. It'll probably go silent for. It'll go silent for a long time. Again, it may even dip down a little bit. Those markets can do that. But clearly here, there's no doubting about it. Melbourne, I actually think it'll do above 100%. My median series there is 105%. The lowest I think it'll do is 90. So if you line up 2025 to 2035, the end of it, this is where I think the market's going to be. Melbourne is so underpriced, so is Geelong. It can't stay like that for much longer, to give you an idea. So look, that's the best regions to buy. I've given you a definitive kind of expectation of it. Now, of course, things can happen, and there's never 100% certainty in anything. But going off long-term trends and what is going to honestly happen, this is what I'm expecting to.